Alright guys, welcome back. Last time we went into a very long discussion on who the Shinobi actually were in history. So with all that out of the way, I think we're done discussing the cultural impact of the Shinobi. I may bring up a few extra things as we go through this, but for now, what we really want to go into is how does the For Honor Shinobi work? Are they accurate? What do they got coming with them? So let's dive right into it, and know that I'm going to be very lenient on here. I'm not going to attack every small little detail just because, like I said last time, this Shinobi is nothing like what the real Shinobi were like, so let's get into it. So starting off, the ninja here is wearing a Shuzoku uniform, which we talked about. It's dark blue in color, actually, which is very nice. I like the fact that it's dark blue. We talked about why that would be better than just pure black. We got a face mask to hide his face. We talked about that too. They have grappling hooks on their back. You got lots of tools here. You got a bag, grappling hook, what looks like a tanto knife on his back, bunch of pouches of probably some ninja tools, a rope, a gourd of some kind, maybe of water or poison or medicinal herbs, hard to really say, but something in there. On his leg, we've got 3 kunai strapped there. Kunai were a ninja tool, but they likely weren't really weapons so much as they were lock picks or shovels or something with which to dig. They would not be good throwing knives. I mentioned that in the Orochi video. Let's see. You know, depending on different outfits you give the Shinobi, their outfit may have different tools on it. Like I've seen wakizashi, I've seen sai, which we talked about wouldn't be a good weapon. I've seen bombs, I've seen all kinds of things strapped onto these ninjas. One thing that they really want to do is show the Shinobi carrying all kinds of different gear and weapons. This isn't 100% accurate for what the Shinobi would look like, but we talked about why that is. I still think it looks cool. I like some of this other stuff here. It looks like we've got some leather or iron armor on the arm and hands here. Those are very nice. I think that's very protective. And it looks like we've got some cloth or leather padding on the chest area, which is also very good. So what I will give this Shinobi credit for is he's got good protection. So if we are going for the warrior Shinobi angle, then this is actually really cool. Now, the weapon, though, is the kusarigama. Now, I want you to watch this. Okay, so this is a clip of how the kusarigama is actually used. What it is it's a scythe or small sickle that you'd hold in one hand, and there's a long chain with a heavy weight at the other end, and the idea is you swing it overhead to create an arc or a kind of perimeter around yourself to protect yourself. And then if they get in too close, you can use it to strike them, and if they dodge that, you can strike them up close with the kama. This was a real weapon, not a ninja specific weapon, but a weapon that both ninja and samurai might have used, although the samurai were known to have used it before the ninja. However, the Shinobi here does not use the kusarigama in that way. Firstly, he carries 2 kama, 1 in each hand, and each kama is attached to chains that wrap around his arms. And as you'll see, he fights, he likes to fling these kama at his enemy using the chain to reel in the kama again, which is ludicrous. I mean, we talked a lot previously about what it is to disarm yourself. I don't care if you have a chain attached to it. You can't just reel it in scorpion style and just get it back in your hand. That's stupid. And you open yourself up to a retaliation that makes you incredibly vulnerable. But we'll talk about that when we get into fighting style. What do I think of the kusarigama as a weapon? The original kusarigama, I think, is an awesome weapon. I think it looks so cool, and I think there's so many unique ways of using it. Do I think it's the best weapon ever created? Nah, it's filled with problems, and in fact, I wouldn't even call it a very deadly weapon. But if I'm looking at the Shinobi's kusarigama here, I think it has a lot of problems. Using 2 kama as weapons alone is a bit of a problem because kama weren't designed to do that. It creates very short range, so you wouldn't be able to reach out very far with them. And even besides that, the blades are usually not sharp enough to cause much damage, so you'd have to make sure that they're constantly sharpened. So I have a few problems with the kusarigama in this game as it's used, but we will talk about that with the fighting style. Before we get into the fighting style though, let me show you my Shinobi. This is my Shinobi. I kept the arms because, like I said, I love the protectors on the arms. I changed up the chest a little bit. It looks like you got 2 smoke bombs hanging on the chest and 3 kunai strapped to the chest as well. There's a sai on the thigh here, which again, we talked about why that wouldn't be an accurate ninja weapon. Got 2 tantos strapped to the back, which isn't a problem. I could see that. That's not an issue to me. And a small satchel on the side. As for the mask, I chose this mask not because of the ponytail, which I think is a little funny, but because it looks like it's made of cloth, and I could totally see a ninja who's running away pulling that down so that they can blend back into society. It's not this metal piece that's going to be stuck to your face. You can actually slide that down off your face and go about your normal business, which I thought was a little clever. So that is the reason for the mask. The kama themselves are a little different, not by much. They look more steel in this with a little bit of ornamentation, and they're both serrated. But other than that, not a lot of difference. So now that we've taken a look at what my Shinobi and the Shinobi here look like, let's go ahead and talk about how they fight and why I think that the Shinobi is one of the most interesting, but also one of the worst characters in all of For Honor.
Okay, so how do you fight as Shinobi? The first thing I want to say is you don't. Shinobi's job usually isn't to fight one-on-one if you can avoid it. You don't really want to hold your ground too much because that's not the way Shinobi fights. They're not meant to, and there's a few reasons you can know this. For one thing, they have the lowest health bar of any hero. Look at the health bar of my brother versus me. Yeah, Shinobi is rocking the lowest health bar of any hero, and this makes it very difficult for them to hold their ground. It can take up to 3 to 4 heavies just to kill a Shinobi. The second reason is they're an assassin who's built to dodge. And finally, they're literally given a way to get in and out of fights in the Naruto run. You heard me right. The Shinobi can Naruto run, called a double dash. It drains stamina. You put your arms behind your back like so, and you run much faster than any other hero. This way, if you're in a sticky situation that you don't like, simply turn on the Naruto run and get out of there, because no one's going to be able to catch you. It's for these reasons that you know that Shinobi isn't really meant to be a stand his ground kind of warrior. But let's say that you really do want to stand your ground. Let's say that that's the way you want to do it. So how do you do it? Well, step 1, search for an opponent who doesn't see you coming. Then rush them and do a slide tackle. Do it again. This move will always knock your opponent on the ground and it'll open you up for the potential of a light attack, which leads me into talking about the attacking maneuvers. Shinobi has a 2-time combo with lights and heavies. If 2 lights land in the same place twice, then you can do a quick guaranteed light right after that. But otherwise, use the light sparingly, because after a while that will drain your stamina and your opponent might figure out where you're coming from with them. Heavy attacks are not as fast, easily recognized, and I'm going to be real honest, almost completely useless. Frankly, the problem with the heavy attacks is that jump lets you know when they're going to happen. And then they're easily knocked aside, guard broken, you get the idea. So the other aspect to talk about is the zone attack. So we have lights, we have heavies, and the zone attack. The zone attack looks like this. The zone attack can be canceled out partway through so that you can ready yourself for your opponent's counterattack. Also, you have the Shinobi's parry, which can apply bleed damage. If you hit the light attack button right as you parry an attack, you can bleed your opponent for a little bit of damage. And that's about it for the basics of Shinobi. So what makes the Shinobi unique? What can they do that no other hero can do? Well, a few things. One of them being a ranged attack. Shinobi may not look it, but she's a ranged fighter. We talked about who the kusarigama was actually used, but the Shinobi in For Honor uses it more like Scorpion. If you hold down the heavy attack button, you can build up a spinning vortex of the kusarigama. The longer you hold it down, the farther it'll go. And then eventually, you can throw it. And then it'll come right back to your hand in a very unrealistic denial of physics. You can do this up to twice. You can also do this by guard breaking from a distance. If I hold down the heavy attack button, but then use a guard break, I can draw in my opponent. This comes with a downside though. If I try it and my brother guard breaks me while I'm trying to do it, notice what happened. I'm on my butt. This can also happen if my heavy long range attack is parried. If you're ever parried or guard broken while doing a ranged attack, not only does it knock you off balance, it brings you to the ground, giving your opponent a free heavy on you, which can be devastating. And considering you don't have the health to spare, that is definitely a problem. Now let's say that you actually do manage to get in 2 heavies, or you manage to get that guard break working the way you want it to. The second heavy in any attack, or the resulting heavy after a guard break, brings your opponent to the ground and gives you an ability very similar to Peacekeepers. I will demonstrate. This move, called the Sickle Rain, allows you to strike your opponent 3 times in the neck with the kusarigama. This does cause some bleed, but you'll notice that it's not as much bleed as what the Peacekeeper can do. So it's a great way to drain your opponent's health, but getting it is very difficult, as said before. The heavies are so slow and easily blocked that it's actually really hard to get to that second heavy, and, as said before, if your opponent guard breaks you while trying to catch them, so what else can the Shinobi bring to the table? Well, there's also the double dash. By pressing the dash button twice in the middle of a dash, you can do what's called a double dash. This can allow you to escape danger, get around your opponent, and though it costs a little bit of stamina to do, it's a great way to keep moving around your opponent. Although, as said before, it's easily susceptible to a guard break if done at the right time. What can you do while doing the double dash? Well, you can do a light attack. You can do a heavy, but still blockable. Or you can do one of the Shinobi's special abilities, an unblockable kick. This kick can send your opponent in a couple of directions depending on which way you dashed. But when done correctly, the kick gives you a free ranged heavy. Now let's say that ranged heavy lands. You have a few options after that. You can then roll to your opponent. When you roll to your opponent, it opens up a few more options. When you complete the roll, you can do a light attack, a heavy attack, or, well, I'll just show you. That is called a backflip kick. The backflip kick grants another free ranged heavy, or the attempt for a guard break from distance. However, it's not guaranteed and your opponent can get out of it. So what I like to do is get in and then try to get in a heavy if I can. Or go for that light attack. Anything I can to keep my opponent off balance. And that's the key to Shinobi. Never be too predictable. Because frankly, if you become too predictable and your opponent reads you, you don't have the health to compensate for it. You just don't. Your opponent's going to waste you in no time. But there is one more thing to talk about with the Shinobi before we go into a quick duel. The deflect. Like all assassins, Shinobi has a deflect. But the deflect grants 2 possibilities. First, a standard deflect. If you dodge your opponent through a deflect, you'll automatically reappear behind them, defying physics while you do, and grant a small amount of bleed. If you hit the light attack button while doing it, though, you can strike for a little bit more bleed. If you hit the guard break button, you can actually kick them and then get a chance for a long-range attack or grab to pull them in, but it doesn't guarantee anything. So, that is the Shinobi's toolkit. Any final thoughts or suggestions? As I said a second ago, never be too predictable. They're going to waste you if you are. And with that out of the way, let's do a very quick duel between me and my brother to demonstrate what I'm talking about. Okay, folks, as you can see, that was a much tougher battle than normal. But now that we've gotten through that, let's go ahead and take a look at Shinobi's executions.
Okay, guys, it's finally time. We've talked about how they fight, we've talked about how they look, we've talked about their culture and their past and the myths and legends. So let's finally have a little bit of fun and take a look at their executions. Let's get started with Zankoku Slicer.
Looks like he's been disarmed.
I get it!
Shut it, Nappa.
Okay, so I'll be real honest, I think this one is really awesome. I think it's a little unbelievable how easily that arm comes off. That arm removal was a little too easy. I don't really buy that too much, but everything else about it is great. I think it's very fluid and beautiful to watch. It fits the Shinobi style. So first, this part, strike across the belly, hook the shoulder, knock them down, strike to the chest, they're done. I like that. That's a definite 9 out of 10 for me. I think it's really, really well done. Probably one of my favorite Shinobi executions out of all of them. Great job, I like it. Oh, and I should say Zankoku translates to cruel, so cruel slicer, which honestly does really fit. Flying Lotus. Okay, so, I think I'm gonna give this one a 7 out of 10. I think it's okay, but here's a common problem I see with some of these executions. The person just stays still and lets it happen. They don't move, they don't try to avoid it. They just kind of stand there and go, oh well, guess I'm dead. Plus, I don't think it's very believable that the head came off that simply from the sights coming up like that. Like, the sights don't go all the way through the neck, so how did the head come off so easy? Yeah, I still think it's great though. I like the idea that she'll climb up on his shoulders and finish him like that. That's very awesome. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10 for the awesomeness factor of it, but there are a few questions I have about it that keep it from being a great score. But 7 out of 10 just feels right for this one. Scorpion Sting. I think the name is a little obvious. This is a nod to Scorpion from the Mortal Kombat games. Kind of obvious, if you asked me, because, I mean, what else does Shinobi look like but a Scorpion ripoff? The strike here is a little funky. I don't really buy the flip part of it. Plus, I don't buy the throw here. Okay, so how did you get the Kama to stick in so easily? That's a little questionable. And then the fact that you could just pull them over so easy is questionable as well. I got to give this one a 6 out of 10. I don't think it's that great. It's not terrible. In fact, I'd say that it's better than some of the others we're going to see. But lots of questions about it that tend to add up to problems. So I don't want to hate it, but yeah, 6 out of 10. Shadow of Death. Now here's a 10 out of 10 execution. Yes, if I had to think of an execution to give to the pop culture shinobi, this is it. Smoke grenade to the ground, grab them with the hook, bring them in, and then chop off their head. That's a lot better. I still don't fully buy the hooking the shoulder, but you know what? That smoke bomb and then the sudden strike to the neck makes up for it. Imagine if the smoke was black and they had a glowing eyes meme. Wouldn't that be awesome? Either way, really cool, really fast, very much what I picture from a shinobi, and I love the angle on this. Bam. Awesome. Okay, 10 out of 10. This one's great. Get back here. Good. Good. No. No. Okay, so yeah, this one is a 5 out of 10. I would have given it a higher score because this part's good, this part's good, this part kills it. The head should not have come off. If you just slit the throat, this would have been a 10 out of 10 too. I like how scary this is, just dragging them back that they're trying to get away and then... But then the head came off so easily. That's too easy. I have to take away points for that because I don't buy it. The Kama should not be able to do that. You can slit the throat with it, but I don't see a head coming off that easy. This one's a 5 out of 10. Everything is so good up to the end. That just ruins it for me. It ruins it. Ruins it. No escape. As cool as that is, the move requires the precision to swing the Kama into the neck and keep them there, which I don't buy. And then the idea that they would support your weight, which I also don't buy. A lot of this I just don't buy. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. But again, the head coming off so easy. The ease of hooking the Kama in. The swinging out and bringing them back in like that. Just... It's not real. I don't believe it's real. And that's what it comes down to. That's what I really want to get down here. I know that I said that I'd be a little forgiving, but keep it somewhere grounded in realism. I don't buy a lot of this. The ease at which that was done, the just easy flip of the wrist to bring the Kama back in. I don't believe it. 5 out of 10, I guess. It's not terrible, but man, it forces you to stretch your suspension of disbelief. You're gonna flip. Okay, now that one is actually good. I like that. That's a 9 out of 10 for me. First of all, I like the strike across the belly, then the hook, and that's a great judo flip. You caught their arm for leverage, then placed leg behind the hip, flip them over your shoulder, and then slit the throat with the Kama. That's a good one. I like this. It's quick, it's efficient, and it uses actual martial arts techniques. Very good. I like that. That's a 9 out of 10. Much better than the last few we've seen. Definitely an improvement. Very good. 9 out of 10. Nagado. Okay, this one's a little better for me. Nagado can roughly translate to long body, and it's also the name of a kind of Japanese drum, which may explain why she's winding up to the strike, bam, wong, and then takes the head off. I do like the build up to the strike. It's not as easy as a slit the throat, your head came off. It's more of a, I had to build up, strike into the neck, and then pull out. So that's a little bit better. The flip is a little unnecessary. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. It's decent enough. I don't know. I'm not a fan of these decapitations that the Shinobi does, because I don't see the Kama as being that good at such a technique. And she has so many decapitations. I'm kind of going, how are you decapitating so easily with a small scythe? It doesn't make sense, but 7 out of 10 feels right for this one. Spinning around. Okay, nice. Few problems though. Firstly, how did you get the Kama to stay on your hands like that? That's the only problem I have. The rest of this I could totally buy. So, nice. Slice the face, that's good. Do the capoeira kick, then unbalance, and then strike to the chest. All of that's pretty good. I'll give this an 8 out of 10. This is an 8 out of 10 for me. I just don't know how you got the Kama to stay in place that well. But I do like the way they stay in place. That's a really cool technique. If you could strap Kama like that to your arm, that'd be kind of interesting. That'd be an interesting way to use them. I'm not saying it'd be perfectly battle effective. I'm saying it'd be interesting. And plus, this is so fluid and so quick. I like it. And plus, we didn't get the decapitation. Good. Use the Kama as a puncturing tool. That's what I would see them as. So very good. 8 out of 10. Throwing stars. What? What?
Fuma Shuriken. Kage Fusha.
Okay, we went full anime on this crap. Okay, so the first two shuriken I don't have a problem with, but then that? Where did that shuriken come from? Where were you hiding it? How did you pull that out? This is some Naruto level crap right here. I do like the discus way of throwing it though, that's kind of cool. But no shuriken would take off a head that easily, and it definitely wouldn't blast off again Team Rocket style. Whatever, it's got a funny factor to it, so I'll give it a few points for that, but I don't buy it as realistic. I'm going to make it a 6 out of 10. This one's a 6 out of 10, just questionable and very anime. Hooked on a killing. What is this? That's a 4 out of 10. Unless the Kama punctured the heart, none of this was deadly. And based on the location that they hit, I don't think that they punctured the heart. I mean, it's possible, but I doubt it. This one doesn't feel deadly to me. 4 out of 10, not that great. Honestly, not a big fan of this one. Hack and slash. Whoa, that was fast. Try it again. Okay, it's quick and to the point. Again, I don't like the decapitation, so that's got to lose some points. I'll give it a 5 out of 10 for that. I like the striking to the arm and the chest, but I don't like how the victim doesn't even move or flinch or try to fight back. Why are you just standing there and taking it? Fight back. Thrash at them. Fight. Do something. Don't just stand there like a rag doll. That's a problem to me. You've got to do something to fight back. Under the bridge. No. Nothing about that was deadly. That's a 3 out of 10. Where the Kama were placed don't look deadly unless they puncture a heart, and that's questionable. It was done for style points, and style points alone don't win it for me. This is a 3 out of 10. I did not like that. Oh, that's bad. That sliding dash thing is just weird. Feels like a Home Alone move. Yeah, 3 out of 10. This one's bad. Oshimai. Oshimai can translate to we're moving on or we're done with this. It's kind of like a impassive way of just saying, all right, moving on, we're done. And I don't know. This one feels weird to me. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's this jumping down bit. It feels real. It actually feels like a real way you'd kill with it. So I like this initial slash, then the strike, drop down. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's not the worst thing I've seen. In many ways, I actually think it's pretty good. But I don't know, maybe it's the pacing of it. Maybe it's the speed or this jump bit. I do like it though. The jump does bring them down, and I would believe that to bring them down, using your own body weight to drag them to the ground. All right, yeah, 7 out of 10. It's okay. It's not my favorite. Moving on. Or Ochimai. Inazuma Dash. Wow. Inazuma can roughly translate to lightning strike. So yeah, this was pretty fast like lightning. I don't like the decapitation, but I could buy it more than some of the others we've seen so far. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10 for this strike. At least she didn't fling her kama at him to drag him in. She actually struck it while holding it, so that's pretty good. Yeah, 6 out of 10 for this one. It's all right. Very quick, very deadly. I like it. I even like the kind of pose she does at the end. Yeah, okay, that's kind of good. Not bad. And that's it, folks. That is all of the Shinobi's executions. So, do I have any last advice or things I can say about Shinobi? Just enjoy her. I think that's what I would say. A lot of people are going to tell you that Shinobi's trash. She can't play very well. She has too low health. And yeah, that is a problem, but again, I don't play For Honor to win every match. I play For Honor to enjoy the characters, enjoy the different play styles, and experiment with new things. And if you're looking to do that, Shinobi is very fun. Shinobi forces you to be creative and try new means of attack. Sort of mix up your style. Are you going to be more long-range fighting, or are you going to search for groups to help out with? Are you going to fight one-on-one and try your luck, or are you going to run around the map like a hooligan trying to look for anyone that you can outsmart or get the drop on? Are you going to be smart enough to feint out of your attacks and catch a person with a guard break? Are you going to attempt to do a long-range guard break even though the possibilities are so slim? It's all about what you choose to do within what you choose to make of it. I love the Shinobi as a character and as a player. Probably the worst character to play as if you're looking to win, but awesome in terms of playability. Even though she may be nothing at all like what the original real Shinobi were, as far as pop culture Shinobi goes, this one's got it's where it's at and where it counts. So I definitely love Shinobi. But we're going to take a step out of the shadows now and step into a totally different kind of samurai. We're walking down the path of dishonor and redemption with the Aramusha. See you then, guys.